There was a time when the world trembled in the darkness of fear and the unknown. Kingdoms were falling apart, nomadic tribes were spilling blood just to survive. And in the heart of that chaos, a young warrior marched forward through the dust, each of his steps silently opening the door to a new era of history. His sword, the fire in his eyes, and the unshakable strength in his heart, these would one day become the foundation of a mighty empire. But he did not know that. He had no idea that the path ahead would reshape ages, politics, power, and destiny itself. Deep within the forests, under the shadow of the mountains, enemies waited for the perfect moment to strike. Kings and queens, warriors and slaves, all fought for survival. Betrayal hid behind every wall, and the echo of attack was the warning of every dawn. In that world, only one thing could keep a man alive: courage. Imagine how a single young man could change the entire course of history with war, strategy, and unmatched leadership. When every swing of his sword, every breath he took, every decision he made was shaping his future fate. A history written in the blood of thousands of years, cities forged in fire, and the endless struggle for power, together they marked the beginning of the rise of an empire. An empire that would one day become one of the strongest forces the world had ever seen. And now, you are about to step into that very history. You are about to witness the wars, the people, the struggles of a time that still echoes through the ages. But there is something you must know. That world was completely different. There were no cameras. No videos. No one recorded those moments as they truly happened. So today, we will witness that era through a new perspective, through the eyes of artificial intelligence, which will resurrect the moments lost in time and bring them alive before you. So come, let us travel back through the ages, to the moment when the fire of an empire first began to burn. In the late 13th century, Anatolia was a land of chaos. The once mighty Seljuk Empire lay in ruins, fractured by invasions, internal betrayal, and the relentless Mongol threat. Villages burned, families scattered, and people lived in constant fear. Among the ashes of a crumbling empire, a new power was about to emerge, a force that would shape the future of the region for centuries to come. The Seljuks, once rulers of vast lands stretching from Anatolia to Persia, were now confined to scattered cities. Their army, divided and weak, could no longer protect the people. Mongol raids devastated towns and villages, leaving death, fire, and despair in their wake. The streets that once bustled with life were now empty, and the cries of the helpless echoed through the mountains and plains. Amid this turmoil, a new figure was rising. Ertuğrul, son of the Kei tribe, emerged from the forests and hills, a young warrior with courage, wisdom, and determination beyond his years. Though small in number, his tribe was fierce and resilient, bound together by loyalty and survival. Ertuğrul understood that strength alone would not save his people. He needed strategy, alliances, and the will to defy the seemingly unstoppable forces that threatened Anatolia. The early years were difficult. Rival tribes challenged the Kei for control over limited resources, and Mongol scouts constantly roamed the region, reporting back to their commanders. But Ertuğrul showed remarkable leadership. He trained his warriors rigorously, taught them tactics for both defense and ambush, and inspired courage even in the most fearful hearts. Each small victory, each clever maneuver, increased his reputation and brought hope to those who had nearly given up. The tribe's first significant challenge came when a neighboring settlement was attacked by Mongol raiders. Villagers were captured, crops burned, and livestock stolen. Ertuğrul led a calculated strike at dawn, using the terrain to his advantage. His warriors moved silently through the forest, surrounding the raiders. The battle was swift and precise. By the end, the captured villagers were freed, and the raiders defeated. News of this triumph spread quickly, drawing the attention of other tribes and allies. As months passed, Ertuğrul began to unite smaller clans under his banner. He offered protection, guidance, and the promise of a future free from Mongol oppression. The once scattered Kei tribe now had a central leadership, and villages previously abandoned were rebuilt. The people started to feel a sense of security, and a fragile but growing community emerged in the heart of Anatolia. Ertuğrul's reputation grew not only for his skill in battle but also for his wisdom and fairness. He settled disputes among allied tribes, mediated conflicts over resources, and ensured that the vulnerable were protected. His leadership was not without challenges. Rival leaders, jealous of his growing influence, conspired against him. But Ertuğrul faced each threat with a combination of cunning and courage, turning potential betrayal into opportunities for strengthening his network. By now, the Kei tribe had established a series of fortified settlements. Watchtowers were built along key passes, and scouts patrolled the surrounding hills. Ertuğrul trained his warriors in new combat techniques, combining traditional swordsmanship with strategies adapted from observing Mongol tactics. Each day brought new challenges, but the tribe grew stronger, more disciplined, and more united than ever before. Despite their progress, the shadow of danger loomed large. The Mongols remained a constant threat, and neighboring tribes eyed the growing power of Ertuğrul's Kei clan with suspicion. Rumors spread of alliances forming in secret, and spies infiltrated settlements to gather intelligence. Every decision Ertuğrul made carried the weight of life and death, not just for him, but for every member of his tribe. One evening, as the sun set over the mountains, Ertuğrul stood on a cliff overlooking the plains. He watched the villages he had helped rebuild and the warriors training in the fading light. In that quiet moment, he understood the magnitude of what lay ahead. The fall of the Seljuks had created a void, but from that void, a new era was rising, an era that he, Ertuğrul, would shape with his courage, wisdom, and unwavering determination. The foundation of the future Ottoman Empire was being laid not in grand palaces or vast armies, but in the hearts and minds of those who believed in a cause greater than themselves. And Ertuğrul, young warrior and visionary leader, was ready to guide his people through the storms that would come, forging a legacy that would endure for generations. As the night settled over the Anatolian plains, the fires in the villages flickered like beacons of hope. The journey had only just begun. The collapse of one empire marked the rise of another. And in the shadows of uncertainty and chaos, Ertuğrul and the Kei tribe took their first steps toward a destiny that would change the course of history forever. In the early 14th century, the Kei tribe had grown stronger under the leadership of Ertuğrul. Villages flourished, fortifications were built, and the people felt a renewed sense of hope. But the time of the young warrior had passed. The mantle of leadership was now ready to be taken up by his son, Osman, a boy born with the blood of warriors and the vision of a leader destined to create an empire. From a young age, Osman demonstrated extraordinary courage and intelligence. He watched his father navigate battles, forge alliances, and protect their people from invaders. Yet, Osman was different. While Ertuğrul focused on survival and uniting the tribe, Osman dreamed of expansion, of building something lasting, something that would outlive generations. He understood that strength alone would not be enough, he would need strategy, diplomacy, and the loyalty of those around him. The first challenge Osman faced was maintaining unity within the tribe. Some elders feared change, preferring the stability of small settlements. Others sought to test Osman's leadership, questioning his ability to command respect. Osman addressed these challenges with patience and insight, listening to the concerns of his people while subtly demonstrating his vision for the future. His actions earned him respect and loyalty, setting the stage for his rise as a leader. Meanwhile, the neighboring Byzantine territories were in decline, plagued by internal conflict and weakened defenses. Osman recognized an opportunity. With a combination of cunning diplomacy and swift, targeted strikes, he began expanding K'i influence. Villages that had once been under threat now welcomed Osman's leadership, seeing in him a protector and a visionary. Word of his victory spread, attracting more warriors to his cause. Osman's first major conquest came when a strategic Byzantine fortress on the border of their territory became vulnerable. Using intelligence gathered by scouts, Osman planned a careful assault. His forces moved under the cover of night, surrounding the fortress and cutting off all escape routes. The battle was swift and precise. The fortress fell, and its inhabitants were spared, earning Osman a reputation not only as a conqueror but also as a just and wise leader. As the years passed, Osman continued to consolidate power. He established a council of trusted advisors, organized a disciplined army, and implemented laws that ensured order within his growing domain. His vision extended beyond mere survival. He sought to create a system of governance, justice, and stability that would endure long after his time. The foundation of the Ottoman state was taking shape. Alliances were key to Osman's success. He married strategically, forging bonds with neighboring tribes and influential leaders. These alliances provided not only protection but also the manpower and resources necessary for expansion. Osman understood that trust and loyalty were as important as swords and arrows in building an enduring empire. But challenges were never far away. Rival leaders sought to undermine Osman's authority, and external threats loomed in the form of Byzantine forces and other Anatolian warlords. Osman met each threat with a combination of foresight, courage, and diplomacy. Battles were fought, not just with weapons, but with intelligence, strategy, and the ability to inspire loyalty among his people. Each victory, each wise decision, strengthened his power and expanded his influence. As Osman's reputation grew, so did his ambition. He began envisioning a state that could rival any kingdom, a realm where his people could live in security and prosperity. The tribes under his leadership were no longer just scattered settlements, they were the seeds of an empire. Osman understood that true power was not just in conquest but in unity, in the ability to create a society where law, order, and culture could flourish. The final years of Osman's life were marked by both victories and careful planning for succession. He ensured that his son and heirs were trained, educated, and ready to continue the work he had begun. Osman's leadership transformed the K'i tribe from a surviving community into a formidable power poised for greatness. The foundations he laid would allow his successors to expand, conquer, and eventually establish one of the greatest empires the world had ever known, the Ottoman Empire. As the sun set over the Anatolian plains, Osman stood upon a hill overlooking his growing domain. He knew that challenges lay ahead, that wars would come and rivals would rise, but he also knew that the vision he had nurtured, of a unified, strong, and enduring state, was now within reach. The birth of an empire had begun, and history would remember Osman not only as a warrior but as the visionary founder of a legacy that would last for centuries. This was just the beginning of Osman's legendary journey. If you want to continue exploring the rise of the K'i tribe and the creation of an empire, the remaining episodes are linked in the description below. Click and continue the story. The adventure only gets deeper from here.